Wait! Those are penguins! Look, there's even a baby.
Hello, I'm FXToyCat, and the penguin was just revealed as the third mob that we can vote on at Minecraft Live. That's right, this might be coming to Minecraft 1.21. However, unlike the previous mobs we can vote on, it doesn't have an item, but it does have a use because
penguins can also help your boat travel faster.
And so, we have an interesting question. Were the armadillo penguin leaks really both right? And also, do we need a penguin in the game? And even if so, is the penguin likely to win? It seems as though we have a very good clue at who will win this year's mob vote, but let's dive into all of that after the full penguin trailer.
Tiny Jens, are you coming back? We better get going because I'm not missing the mob vote. Let's just hope the new mobs aren't hostile. What was that? Wait! Those are penguins! Look, there's even a baby. Penguins live in the stony shore biome and they're super friendly, so don't be scared if they come up to say hello. Penguins are a bit clumsy on land, but they are elegant swimmers. Penguins can also help your boat travel faster, which I could definitely use right now. Excuse me, penguins. Do you think you could help me get to Minecraft Live in time for the mob vote?
Do you want a penguin to join Minecraft? Voting opens on October 13th at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and you'll have 48 hours to cast your vote.
I am fascinated by how many people's reactions to that trailer was so different to mine, but we'll be splitting this video into 3 simple parts. What do we know about the penguin? What don't we know about the penguin, including the leaks which turned out maybe to be partially true, partially not. And then finally, what do you need to know before Minecraft Live, both in terms of dates that you need to make sure you keep aware of, and also in terms of who is most likely to win, because right now there is a clear favourite emerging, and sadly it doesn't look very good for our penguin friends, which by the way will spawn in the Stony Shores biome, which would make them the first exclusive mob there, and also they'll be one of the few amphibian mobs in Minecraft being able to go on both land as well as being elegant swimmers. Interestingly, they reference that specifically they will come in baby form, which is kind of assumed for almost every Minecraft mob, but the fact that they didn't specifically say this in the other trailers either means this is fluff and they didn't have much to say, or they specifically want to let you know that baby penguins would be very cute. But it's not just a very cute, very friendly mob, by the way. It sounds as though they are likely to never be hostile towards you, even when you punch them, but also they can help your boat travel faster. That is the quote we get. We don't know exactly how. The item that would do so isn't revealed, or maybe it's the mob itself in the same way that dolphins work, and a lot of people immediately jump to saying, wow, we're gonna get a second dolphin. No, dolphins do help you swim faster. The penguins are going to help you boat faster. And it's interesting to me because this could be one of 2 things. This could be one of the most useful things in Minecraft. A penguin that makes your boat go faster is worth having around, or it could be one of the most useless, solely depending on its implementation, and that's where we have to move into what we don't know about the mob, which is basically everything. Unlike the crab and the armadillo, which are the other choices for the next mob being voted into Minecraft, sadly the penguin doesn't have much detail added at all, and to prove that, let's go back to the leaks that came out earlier this week. You might recall that this Kajil Martin person actually managed to share an image of the savannah biome long before we knew that the boat would be going there, and it is a exact frame from the trailer, meaning that they were able to watch it before it was public. They also posted an image of an armadillo, meaning they have some form of insider information. It might literally just be the game code. It might be that they saw the trailer somehow before it was public, but in either case, they knew it was coming, which is why it was surprising to look at this other tweet from them, where they said that jellyfish is not a mob vote option. Instead, we have the crab, the armadillo, and the penguin. We can use the crab's claws. That was correct. The armadillo's back. That is mostly correct. It is a scute, which will come from the armadillo's back, so that's true. And then the penguin's beak/scalp. This is very, very interesting to me, and more interesting is the fact that earlier today, after I posted, what do you think a penguin beak would actually do for you in Minecraft if it came to the game? And interestingly, the same account responds to me saying it's a hat, not a beak. And so they thought it was a beak, or indeed some sort of scalp, then they thought it was a hat, and now when the trailer comes out, it is neither a beak nor a hat. Indeed, it is just their innate ability to help your boat go faster, which doesn't require an item whatsoever. Interestingly, I think this ability would be more powerful if you could get it via an different item. If you could upgrade your boat using a penguin beak or flipper or using one of their hats, that would be incredible, and immediately people would be swayed, and so that's what makes this so interesting. Will the penguin in fact have an item? I don't think it's a guarantee. I think that what is likely here is they got some amount of leak from the code, or maybe they watched small parts of the trailer, if they just saw a few frames from each of them. That's the only easy way to explain that they saw this image days ahead of time and knew that it was an armadillo, but also was slightly wrong about the item and what it would be called, and the same is true for the penguin, and so that is what I think happened here, but it might just be that the actual penguin mob that they know information from the inside actually has the beak or the scout or whatever else it may be, and so that is where things get messy. We do not know what the penguin's full abilities will be, because even going a step further, how will the penguin help you with the boat? Looking at the current game, it's likely that it would work like dolphins, where if you just swim near them, you get a boost. Maybe if you ride your boat near penguins, you simply get a boost from being there. However, it's also possible that you need to get the penguin in the boat with you. Interestingly, this would be slightly less useful to the new game player, but much more useful to anyone past that point. Here is an illustration from the thumbnail. I hope you enjoy it. But yeah, this is something that would make the penguin much better, because then you would be able to stack the effects not just on regular water, but also on blue ice pathways, making it the new fastest way to travel. And if this is the case, this is by far the most powerful mob vote. However, if it only works while it's in the water next to you, then it's by far the least powerful. Unless they follow you around, giving you this giant boost and allowing your exploration to be made that much easier, I think the penguins could be the most useless mob or the least useless, and that is the annoying thing, isn't it? We don't know for sure. Minecraft was doing such an incredible job of explaining perfectly what the crab is and what its claw does. They explain perfectly what the armadillo is and what the armadillo scute does, even though it's weird that they call it a scute too. But then with the penguin, they drop the ball and they haven't explained the most important detail, which is how it would interact with your existing world in any meaningful way. They had a whole 60-second trailer, they have a whole Minecraft.net article where they could explain this, but instead they just say, yeah, it helps you with your boat traveling faster. But how, Minecraft? That is the important thing. And does it work with the way that most people use their boats, i.e. on ice, blue ice, or packed ice? These are the questions that I would love to see an answer for, but we don't have any right now. What we do have, though, is an interesting update as to what important dates you need to know. As the trailer voice very clearly said, if you want to cast your vote, you can do so October the 13th at 1 p.m. EDT. 1 p.m. EDT is the equivalent of 6 p.m. if you live in the United Kingdom, 7 p.m. if you live in most of Europe, and 7 p.m. if you live in the heathen parts of Europe, and then if you live on the west coast of the United States, it is more like 10 a.m. And if you live anywhere else in the world, just type in 1 p.m. EDT, you'll know where it is. That is when Minecraft Live is also occurring, 1 p.m. EDT, just on October the 15th, and then the update, which is bringing in the brand's new gathering, is likely to happen on Tuesday and maybe even Wednesday next week, which means the 10th or the 11th, Tuesday or Wednesday, at about 1 p.m. EDT is when you can download the update if you're a Bedrock player. On the 13th is when you can vote whether you're Bedrock or Java, although if you are on Bedrock, you'll be able to go on the live event server and meet the tinies, play mini games, and even indulge in some mob parkour. But then finally, on October the 15th or Sunday at 1 p.m. EDT, the official event begins, or about an hour earlier is when we'll start our live event here on YouTube, since there will be a pre-show. However, Minecraft Live is when you're going to learn about the next big Minecraft update, whatever they've been working on towards that, as well as everything else in Minecraft as a studio, and most importantly, who won the mob vote. And if you're curious who is most likely to win, I decided to run a poll, but I figured that actually one of the most important things about opinion polling, one of the reasons that people don't trust it, is because they think if you ask a group of people what the entire nation thinks, or if you ask a small group of Minecraft fans what the entire fan base thinks, you're not going to get an accurate subsection. So I decided to take quite a few fan bases from quite a few polls, and we're going to look at each of them and see if there's any trend that we can spot between the results. So the first two that showed up on my Twitter feed were from Echo, a friend of mine, who, as you can see, has 37% of people going for the crab, 41% of people going for the armadillo, and just 21 for the penguin, which looks pretty dire. But when you see this second poll, which is from an account called Minecraft News, you can see that the crab is at 37 still, but the armadillo is just at 39, while the penguin is at 22. It's a little bit closer together, but the same trend is very clear there. The crab and the armadillo seem pretty darn close, while the penguin is a distant third. I did decide to check a third YouTubers with more votes. This is Phoenix SC. As you can see, the crab is slightly winning in this poll at 42 to 35 between it and the armadillo, but the penguin is still around 20%. There are around 1 in 5 people who want the penguin in the game. It just seems as though there's closer to 2 in 5 who want the crab or the armadillo, and this is indeed backed up by my own YouTube poll. As soon as we learned that it was the penguin, I decided to throw out the poll into there. I think it's fun. I decided to use a YouTube image poll, and as you can see from the first 4,000 votes, 20% of people choose the penguin, and then 37% choose the crab, and 43% choose the armadillo. Do we know from the collection of polls exactly what the result will be next Sunday? No, of course not. I think a lot of people have a lot of skepticism about opinion polls, maybe because of surprise events like Donald Trump winning the presidential election that one year, for example. However, I think if you actually look at the polls, you can see that they just start to give you a weighted average, a more likely outcome, and so indeed, I think at the time it was like 2/3 chance of Donald Trump not winning versus 1/3 chance of winning. 1 in 3 events happen all of the time. Right now, it looks as though the armadillo has a certain favorite status and the crab has a little bit of a hill to climb, but the penguin, even with the massive hype behind it just being announced right now, still is very, very far in third in basically every poll you do. And so if you assume the average, Minecraft player who doesn't watch YouTube videos is much more interested in dog armor, then you can probably see where that's going to go. And so the interesting question you need to be asking is, will the crab with its crab claw be able to overcome the armadillo with its wolf armor? I did a Twitter poll, I did a YouTube poll rather, just based on these two things alone. As you can see, most people think the block reach extending claw would be much better than wolf armor, and here are some of the reasons that people listed as to why. I'm all for wolf armor, but one of the things they need to do is make the wolf AI better. Many deaths will still likely be unavoidable even with armor. One of my dogs, for example, jumped off a skyscraper that I built. Unless the wolf gets a revamp in terms of AI, I don't see how effective armor will be. And then also, while wolf armor is cool, we all know that dog ain't going anywhere once tamed. And finally, crab claw seemed more versatile, and I usually only tame wolves to make my house more cozy, so armor for them is basically useless for me. But then they say that the crab spawn isn't that great. So yeah, the interesting question here is, what will win, the crab or the armadillo? Because unless we see something major announced for the penguin, it is unlikely to win, which is a shame because we do need to fix the current kind of broken transport system. There are a few things which are head and shoulders above the rest. Even though we have so many choices, they're not all equally valid in my opinion. So something Mojang could hopefully do to fix it is work on some other changes unrelated to the penguin. But yeah, this is the penguin. I have also made a video covering the crab and the armadillo. If you want to see those in depth, they were covered yesterday and the day before. And of course, we'll be going through the big questions you have about this update, which will be done in the Q&A Saturday this week. So leave your questions down below. All of the big ones, like why don't they just add all 3? We can dive into all of those and more. And also, finally, I just want to quickly mention, I'm sure some of you would like an update as to how my 1 item everyday in Minecraft challenges go. I have managed to get cluttered inventory management even in this series, but this time it's actually on purpose. So yeah, it's going fairly well for me. Thank you for asking. But yeah, I will probably be finished with that soon, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. But for now, thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you for Q&A Saturday, if not, hopefully before. Goodbye.